All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers in today's video. I think this team is on the brink of greatness. This time last year, man, what a difference 1 year could make. Jim Harbaugh was just officially hired by the Chargers, and we were sitting here thinking, oh man, 9-8 would be sick. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but 10-7 making the playoffs, that is the absolute dream. And the Chargers kind of exceeded everybody's expectations, put together a great season, but then it was just kind of hampered or harpered or whatever the word is by the loss to the Houston Texans in the playoffs. But we saw this coming. Everyone saw this coming. If you watch the Chargers, even before the season officially began, everyone kind of saw the writing on the wall. Their one key need is they must prioritize adding offensive weapons. They struck absolute gold in last year's draft, which is about 2 months from the time of this recording, but we have free agency in 3 weeks. So we're going to talk about T. Higgins and a lot more in this video. But Ladd McConkey fell onto this team's lap in the second round, and he had an unbelievable season. 82 catches, 1,149 yards, averaging 14 yards per catch and 7 touchdowns. And then when you look in the playoff game, the only receiver that made any type of impact was Mr. Ladd McConkey. Now on defense, we're going to talk mainly offense in today's video, but defensively, there's not crazy concerns. There are concerns with like maybe some guys getting up there in age like Bosa and Khalil Mack. Free agency, there's a bunch of dudes available, or I should say, for the rest of the league from the Chargers defensive side of things. Like just for example, it kind of seems like Khalil Mack will be re-signed, and it actually, people are dropping this news bomb in this report, but keep in mind it is February, so we're seeing a lot of nothing, just a lot of stuff, right? A lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of random news, kind of like what we're doing in today's video. But it kind of seems like Bosa will be cut and they're going to save like $25 million. But the good news is for Los Angeles Chargers is they have 11 total draft picks this April, and they've got plenty of cap space, plenty of resources to overhaul their positions of need. All right, their weaknesses, right? And really, it just comes down to, and the whole premise you see on the thumbnail here is T. Higgins. The Chargers need to bring in an outside playmaker who can provide a down-the-field threat and win 50-50 balls in deep ball threat. And that's why T. Higgins is on the screen or on the thumbnail, because Ladd McConkey in the slot, in the middle of the field, was an absolute menace. So if they can go out there and get at least one kind of blue chip type of wide receiver and then draft a wide receiver later on, second round, third round, fourth round, don't matter, and get a tight end, I mean, this offense could be even scarier. Justin Herbert just had a crazy season, and I know like he's been getting ragged on Twitter just for like the last month plus pretty much, because he's like, oh, what if? At the end of the day, man, when I watch Justin Herbert play football, especially in that playoff game, he just needs more help. It's not this big conspiracy that Justin Herbert can't get it done in big time games, at least as far as I'm concerned. He just threw for almost 4,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. But let's talk a little bit about T. Higgins, because the Chargers have about $63 million in projected cap. So they have the financial flexibility to offer a big time contract for a guy like T. Higgins. Now, the word on the street is that T. Higgins will get franchise tagged. He says he wants to stay in Cincy. Cincy says they want him to stay in Cincy. It just kind of feels like T. Higgins might not be a member of the Cincinnati Bengals this time next season, or I guess that would be February. But anyways, I don't think T. Higgins will be playing for the Cincinnati Bengals this upcoming year. But he understands the impact of an elite passer, aka Justin Herbert, and I think it's just a nice, enticing opportunity for a guy like T. And we'll see what happens if they have to make a trade for him. You're probably going to have to give up like a second round pick and a fifth round pick, but we'll wait and see what happens with the T. Higgins situation. But in case T actually does remain with Cincy, or it's just too much money and Los Angeles isn't interested in a contract extension, et cetera, New York Jets wide receiver, my man Devante Adams, is an intriguing alternative. Nice little X receiver. He excels on the outside. Great complementary piece to Ladd McConkey, just like T. Higgins would be. According to Over the Cap, Adams carries a little bit over $38 million cap hit in 2025. So he's getting cut. And also Aaron Rodgers is also not going to be a member of the New York Jets apparently next season. So Devante Adams will not be playing for the New York Jets. And if they cut or trade him, they free up $30 million in cap space. So my number one, my 1A guy is T. Higgins, and my 1B guy would be Mr. Devante Adams. Now, I do want to talk real quick because I was reading an article from Josh Eliskowitz on PFF, and he did a mock draft for all 32 teams in the NFL. And in round one, pick number 22, he had you guys taking Colston Loveland out of Michigan. And I really like that. I actually kind of like that pick. It's a familiar face, obviously, with Harbaugh and their tenure at Michigan 2 years ago. Colston Loveland has already got the natty, right? So reunites with his former coach in Los Angeles. Nice little pass catching threat at the tight end position to strengthen this offense here. Now, last year, statistically, it's not eye-popping. I feel like tight ends in general in college football, it's never really eye-popping. But whether it was injuries or inconsistent quarterback play this past year at Michigan, his production dropped, but he still posted a 90.6 receiving grade, which was the third best in all of college football. Now, just to go back real quick with free agency, because I do want to talk about the offensive line, there's going to be a new center. And I keep seeing Chargers fans say, go out there and sign Drew Dalman in free agency. Now, the guard position is also a huge weakness for the Chargers team last year. You got two great tackles in Slater and Joe Alt. And this is a really good, not only draft for guards, but this is a really good free agency for guards. Everyone and their mother want Mr. Trey Smith from Kansas City in free agency. He's going to be the highest touted guard out there. But if they don't land him, there's guys like Will Fries over with the Indianapolis Colts and Kevin Zeitler, even though he's up there in age, he just had a phenomenal season with the Detroit Lions. So I do expect a couple of moving pieces, or a couple of new pieces, I should say, on that offensive line, whether it's both guard spots and the center, or just two out of those three, right? Something like that. Moving on to the draft, getting back here, Josh Leiskowitz had you guys drafting in round 2, pick 54, edge Kyle Kennard out of South Carolina. And that's why I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because if Trey Harris, a wide receiver, is available, they might take him. They might trade that pick to try and acquire T. Higgins. We won't really know for sure. Like, basically, free agency that starts in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks pretty much. That's going to give us a really good indication of what they would do in a round, whether it's round 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, 6, 7. Doesn't matter. Trey Harris, Kyle Kennard. But my point is, I actually like that pick because, first off, I'm a big South Carolina Gamecock fan. He just had 11 sacks this past year. He had 44 total pressures. I mean, the guy's literally a stud. But if we actually do end up seeing Joey Bosa get cut, then they're going to need another edge rusher, especially if, Khalil Mack hopefully is back. I've seen some guys saying, you'll go out there and sign Baron Browning. But if Kyle Kennard's available at pick number 54 and Bosa is no longer a member of the Los Angeles Chargers, folks, that would be really intriguing to me. And then I just want to sprinkle this in here because I also loved who he had in round 3, pick 86, Ollie Gordon, running back out of Oklahoma State. But we'll save all that draft stuff for a couple of weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. But guys, let me know down below, if you're the Chargers, if you're a Chargers fan, are you making a move for T. Higgins? Are you making a move for Devante Adams? Let me know what you're doing at the wide receiver spot down below. Peace.